Hey everybody, welcome back out to the channel. It's Trigger Bar Philosopher here. Today we're going to be doing the first of a three-part series. At the end of the three-part series, I'm going to be releasing one super long video that has all of these together. As I was editing it, it was way too long for one thing. We're going to be looking at Trigger Bar's top 7 carry guns for 2023. These are the guns that Trigger Bar has carried the most in the order in which he has carried them. And today we're going to be looking at 7, 6, and 5. Let's get going. Okay, so it shouldn't be as a surprise, or if it is, you probably haven't watched my channel before, but coming in at number 7 is going to be my PSA Rock. This is probably one of the reasons that it's been the most of my 5.7s that I have concealed carry, of my 2, is because I have a holster that works for it. This is a holster that I got from Works Holsters, and it works pretty well with the PSA Rock. So we're going to take it out, and we're going to see how well the 5.7 by 28 ammunition works in some ballistic gel. Let's get to shooting. Okay, so I've got the Rock. I've got some SF198 LF. That's the green tip. It's 27 grain. Is it the best round? Well, one of the things that I found with my PSA Rock is it seems to like the FN ammo direct from FN the best. And at 27 grains, and in some of my tests, it is going some of the fastest. It has the highest velocities and some of the highest energy foot-pounds, and the most reliable in this gun. So let's take a shot into the gel block and see how it goes. All right, let's just take a look, see what happened in the gel. See, it has a pretty nice wound cavity. Doesn't look as big that direction. I think this bullet jumped out. It probably would have kept going deeper. It was still making some decent wounding and then exited the gel. If we can take a look at the bottom, look at some of the tumbling going on. That's a pretty nasty, wide, permanent wound cavity. All right, that's our 5.7 by 28 green tip ammunition. Okay, I have this 198 LF. We're going to be shooting this over the lab radar. And we'll see how this performs, just so that we can get a quick check on what the energy is, so we can compare that as we looked at the gel. 2269. 2208. Pretty big standard deviation. I'm going to just shoot a couple of rounds just so that we get a quick average and we can go from there. All right, one of the reasons that I like carrying the Rock is that it comes with a standard capacity 23 rounds. It's pretty thin, so for concealing, you're able to tuck it into your waistband, either at the 4 o'clock or at the appendix carry, for a pretty concealable handgun. I haven't carried it a ton, just because I have other guns in my rotation, but every now and then it throws in. This is why it's down at the bottom, but it's definitely a serious contender. 23 rounds of this SS198 LF is no joke. We're going to shoot just a few here just to show how fast how fast I can shoot this, which is another big important reminder, is that maybe I can't shoot all of these guns the best, and so I should be carrying the guns that I can shoot the best. So we're just going to test out, see how I can fire this. We're going to leave a couple of rounds in here. Hopefully I won't shoot them all. I'm going to shoot about 5 or 6 of them. So let's get going. We're going to do some transitions. All right, not bad. Probably many of you can do a lot better. It's a fun one to shoot. Certainly something that I can keep on target and transition from one target to the other on. 23 rounds, serious contender for something that you ought to be considering in your carry. Maybe you don't think 5.7 by 28 is something that you want to have with you every day, but I would say something where you might need that extra capacity. Certainly something for you to consider, which is why I like it. And I just think the 5.7 by 28 is a fun cartridge. Okay, coming in at number 6, I have my Sig P229. It's originally chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. I put a new barrel in it. I've had some slide work done. I got it milled for a red dot. And we've brought it up to the modern age with some nice Hogue grips. Some Piranha grips that help me manage the recoil of the 357 SIG. So I also have it in an Eclipse holster. I really enjoy shooting this gun. I love carrying this gun. It's really just a fun setup that I have. I got it kind of set up later in the year, and it's just been part of one of my carry rotations when I'm feeling the urge to have just a little more oomph behind the bullets that I'm doing. Today we're going to be shooting some Spear gold dots, and we're going to be testing it out in some gel. Let's get going. So now we're going to bring out the P229, test 357 SIG in this gelatin. Let's see how it performs. All right, let's go downrange, take a look. All right, let's take a look at this 357 SIG round. As you can tell, there's its entrance, and it goes, I believe these are 20-inch gel blocks, so it probably goes to about 18 inches. So, what do we do in comparison of these two? Certainly that 357 SIG, if you're worried about penetration, has a lot better penetration than that 5.7 by 28 ammunition. But look at the wound channel comparison between 5.7 and 357 SIG. A lot longer, a lot deeper. It's going to get to the vitals with that 357 SIG, which is important. But dang, that's an explosion and some permanent wound cavity of that 5.7 compared to 357 SIG. Let's test our velocity on this so we can get our energy foot-pounds. 1368. 1346. Just going to be doing a couple of rounds just to test so that we can get an energy foot-pound reading on these. I'll put that in the comments, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about it at the end. Okay, well, we got the 357 SIG out in our P229. Let's see how Trigger Bar can shoot with it. But I would say it was good, but not great. Certainly see my groups opening up quite a bit. Is what it is. I certainly love the round though. Let's go on to the next gun. All right, so coming in at number 5, I've got my Staccato C2. This is my bedside gun, but I often just like to carry it because it's a flippin' awesome gun. I love the way it shoots. I love the way it handles. It's chambered at 9mm. Can have a lot of capacity with it. Like the Steiner red dot, I've got a turbo, Surefire turbo light on it, and I have the DSC Gunworks compensator on it. Why don't we get it out and see how this thing performs in gel? I have some Underwood 124 grain jacketed hollow points, so we'll see how those perform in the gel. Well, we got the Staccato C2 124 grain jacketed hollow point. Let's see if we can get it into the gel. Ooh, went right next to 357 SIG. We'll see what we can tell out of this. All right, well, let's take a look at the wound channel that we have. This is the 357 SIG. This is the 9mm. You see the 9mm comes down here and ends right there. Opened up very wide. Looks like it did some twisting and turning. Lost a little bit of petals in it. But the 357 SIG went a lot deeper. A lot deeper. Let's take a look from the side. I'm sure it's hard to tell from the side channel. Looks like a very similar width in terms of 357 SIG versus 9mm, and those first sort of 5 to 6 inches, and then kind of penetrates to about right there. So yeah, looks like a pretty good performer. Definitely not a jacket or a bonded hollow point, because you see some petals and some of the jacket coming off as it's going along. But that's providing opportunities for additional wound cavitation. All right, let's go do some other tests. A couple of rounds so that we can understand what the energy foot-pounds are. $12.19, 1271. Do one more because I really enjoy shooting this gun. 1232. All right, let's see how well Trigger Bar can shoot the Cato C2. All right, not bad. Certainly have a lot of practice to do, but it's certainly a lot of fun to do. I think I'd be sufficiently proficient, but we'll have to see. Okay, let's just wrap up the first part of our video series in which we had number 7, number 6, and number 5, the PSA Rock, the Sig P229, and the staccato C2. In each of these guns, we had what I consider pretty good performance. The 5.7 by 28, even though it exited the gel, it still got fairly deep penetration and a pretty wide wound channel in terms of its height. In our Sig P229, we got some of the best penetration and pretty good expansion of any of the rounds we tested. And in the staccato C2, we got pretty good expansion. Actually, we got very good expansion, but limited penetration on the Underwood plus P jacketed hollow point. And we saw that we had some pretty comparable energy foot-pounds between these handguns, with of course the 357 Sig having about 100 more foot-pounds than the 9mm, and then the 9mm having about 100 more foot-pounds than the 5.7 by 28. So these are my first 3, the ones that I carried sort of on the least end of my top 7. Stay tuned for the next episode when we're going to be looking at the next 2 out of my 7, number 4 and number 3. Catch you soon.